You're late.
I'm not a child, Mother.
Adults, why are you hiding the side of your face from me? Yes, you are.
It was an accident.
Javier, you're in charge.
Hurt him. His family's dangerous.
20 years ago, in a dim hotel room in New York, a young woman named Hazel adjusts her lingerie and reapplies her lipstick in the mirror. Her movements are slow, deliberate, almost tender. Behind her, a man lies sprawled across the bed, his throat opened like a second smile. She walks back to him, wipes the blood from the corner of his mouth, and methodically polishes every surface her fingers have touched. The lamp, the headboard, the rim of the wine glass. When she finally walks out of the room, she leaves nothing behind. No prints, no trace, no evidence that she was ever there at all. The man on the bed will be found in the morning. Hazel will already be gone.
And the girl I left behind isn't really gone.
2 decades later, that same woman stands behind the counter of a small, sun-bleached diner on the edge of Barstow, California, pouring coffee for a trucker who tips and dime. The lipstick is gone. The lingerie is gone. Her hair is pulled back. Her apron is smeared with grease, and the only thing on her hip now is a notepad. Her name, as far as anyone in this dusty little town knows, is just Hazel. Single mother, diner owner, pleasant smile, mediocre coffee. The kind of woman you'd forget the second you walked out the door. That's exactly how she wants it.
You know it hasn't changed since the Bush administration. So what'll it be?
Tuna melt, minestrone soup, bacon cheeseburger.
Fantastic.
Hazel's regulars are the kind of folks who've been ordering the same breakfast for 15 years. Truckers, retirees, a couple of local cops who drift in for free pie. When the police come by, Hazel always quietly waves their bill away. Her teenage daughter Joy notices this one morning and finally asks why her mother insists on feeding the badge for free. Hazel doesn't even look up from the register. She tells Joy that staying on the right side of the law isn't generosity, it's insurance. If something serious ever happens in this diner, she wants those officers to come running, not strolling. Joy rolls her eyes the way 19-year-olds do when they're certain their mother's being dramatic. She has no idea how serious can get. Mid-conversation, Hazel's eyes catch on a young man slouched in a booth by the window. Travis, Joy's boyfriend, the kind of kid who walks like he owns the room and pays for nothing in it. Hazel's smile flatlines. Joy reads her face instantly and decides to swing for the fences. She tells her mother she wants the college fund, all of it. She wants to take it, take Travis, and start a new life somewhere far from here. Hazel doesn't even let her finish. The answer is no, and the lecture is fast and surgical. Hazel built her own life from absolutely nothing, she tells Joy, and her daughter is going to do the same. She begs Joy to break it off with Travis, calls him a leech, a bad bet, a future that ends in regret. Joy fires back that he's a good guy, that her mother doesn't know him. The argument escalates until Joy slams out of the diner, declaring she's moving out, with or without permission. Hazel watches her go and says nothing. She's already cataloging Travis like a problem. That same afternoon, the universe drops another stranger on her doorstep. A drifter wanders into the diner, orders a full meal, and gets up to leave without paying a cent. Joy catches him at the door and explodes, convinced she's been hustled. Hazel steps between them and looks the man over the way she once looked over targets. He's tall, soft-spoken, exhausted. He admits, quietly and without excuses, that he's homeless and broke. Most diner owners would call the cops. Hazel offers him a job washing dishes and a cot in the back. He blinks like he's not sure he heard her right, then introduces himself as Elliot. Is there something this woman can't read in a single glance? Maybe, but Elliot isn't on the list.
Elliot Morgan.
Days drift. Travis keeps pressing Joy for the college money. When she pushes back, he pushes harder, the way men like Travis always do when they smell hesitation. He insists they take her savings, no debate. Joy starts to crack. And then one afternoon, she walks into the diner wearing oversized sunglasses on a cloudy day, trying to slip past her mother to the back office. Hazel doesn't even let her get 3 steps. She stops her daughter in the middle of the dining room, gently pulls the sunglasses off, and goes very, very still. Joy's eye is swollen shut, purple, black, ringed in yellow. The kind of bruise that comes from a fist that meant it.
It was an accident.
Javier, you're in charge.
Joy starts begging before Hazel has even spoken. Don't, she pleads. Please don't. Travis's family is dangerous. They have connections. Don't go after him. But Hazel isn't listening anymore. She's already somewhere else. Somewhere old. Somewhere cold. She walks out of the diner without a word, drives home, and changes. Not into something practical. She changes into a striking dress, dark and sharp, the kind a woman wears when she wants to be remembered. Then she reaches under her bed and lifts out a metal lockbox that hasn't been opened in 2 decades. Inside is a pistol that knows her hand better than her own daughter does. Across town, Travis is laughing it up at an auto shop with a buddy, completely oblivious. He's got a beer in one hand and a story in the other. He doesn't hear the door. He doesn't notice the woman in the dress. He only notices her when she's standing 3 feet away asking, "Sweet as syrup," for a private word. He smirks. He performs for his friend. He tells her to get lost. Hazel punches him square in the face. The smirk vanishes. She kicks his legs out from under him before he hits the ground. The mechanic lunges to help. She pepper sprays him without breaking eye contact with Travis, who's now bleeding through both nostrils onto the concrete. She draws the gun, calm as Sunday morning, and tells him to stand up and walk. He refuses. She fires a warning shot past his ear. He stands up and walks.
It'll be the last thing you ever do. Turn.
In the parking lot, she takes his phone, snaps it in half, and shoves him into the trunk of her car. She duct tapes him so tightly he can barely breathe. Then she drives, out of town, past the truck stops, past the last gas station, deep into the Mojave, where the only witnesses are buzzards and bones. Hours later, she drags Travis out into the dark and walks him to the edge of a hole already dug into the desert floor. A grave, his grave. She tells him, almost conversationally, that she dug it the day she first met him. The day she shook his hand and looked into his eyes and knew, with the certainty of a woman who used to do this for a living, that he was going to hurt her daughter eventually. She pushes him in. She pulls the trigger. She turns around and walks back to her car without ever looking back. 2 decades of pretending to be someone else. One bruise was all it took to bring the old Hazel back. The next morning, Joy texts Travis, then calls again. Nothing. She storms into the diner demanding answers, and Hazel, still wearing her apron and her practiced little smile, tells her daughter that Travis got cold feet and skipped town. Joy doesn't buy it for a second. She warns her mother that Travis's family are real criminals, the kind who hold grudges with shovels and quicklime. If Hazel did something, she says, they will come. Hazel doesn't blink. Joy storms out for the 2nd time that week. Elliot watches the whole exchange from the kitchen door. When Hazel turns around, he steps in quietly to comfort her. But before they can say much, Hazel notices something through the front window. A man, across the street, holding up a phone, pretending to text, but very clearly photographing Elliot. Hazel bolts out the door. The man bolts the other way. By the time she rounds the corner, he's gone. When she walks back inside, Elliot is in the kitchen, pale, gripping the edge of the counter like a man trying not to fall. He sees her and instantly puts on the dishwasher face again. Nothing's wrong, just tired, just thinking, just lying. That night, Hazel hears him moving around. She finds him packing. He's trying to slip out before sunrise. She blocks the door and demands to know who the man with the camera was. Elliot says he doesn't know. His face says he absolutely does. Hazel pushes harder. He counters with a deal. He'll tell her his story if she tells him hers. Hazel goes very quiet. Then she steps aside and tells him to go to bed. 2 ghosts under one roof, and neither one is ready to talk yet.
Good night.
All right.
The next day, Hazel spots the photographer again, lurking, snapping. This time she follows him. She tracks him to a sagging little motel on the edge of town, picks the lock to his room, and waits in the dark. When he comes back, she puts him on the floor with one clean strike. He wakes up with a gun in his face. Under pressure, he babbles everything. He's a freelance journalist. He's been chasing Elliot for months. Elliot, he claims, isn't just a homeless drifter. Elliot is a man with a body in his past. He pulls up his laptop with shaking hands and shows her the file. Hazel reads it in silence. Elliot was once a celebrated cardiac surgeon, hands that saved lives for a living. Then one night he drank too much, got behind the wheel, and killed his own girlfriend in a head-on wreck. He served 4 years in prison. He lost his license, his career, his name. He's been wandering ever since. The journalist tells her he's going to publish everything. Hazel takes the laptop, looks at him for a long moment, and tells him that if she ever sees him in Barstow again, he won't leave. She walks out with the laptop under her arm. Life tries to go back to normal. Hazel pours coffee. Hazel takes orders. Hazel pretends. Joy is still red-eyed from the missing boyfriend, and she shoves Hazel away when her mother tries to hug her. As Hazel watches her daughter storm out yet again, a familiar voice cuts through the air behind her. It's Phil, an old colleague from a life she buried. He's leaning against a car like he never left. He says, with a smile that isn't really a smile, that the boss is out of prison. Hazel goes cold from the inside out. She knows exactly what this is.
Vaughn's out.
How?
One of the counts got reversed.
Okay, when?
Tomorrow night. 9 p.m. Same place.
I'll be there.
Phil tells her the boss wants a meeting, just a chat, just old friends catching up. And then, almost as an afterthought, he mentions Joy by name, compliments her, says he hears she's grown up beautiful. The compliment lands like a knife. Hazel agrees to the meeting. The next morning at breakfast, she finally lays the journalist's file in front of Elliot. He stares at it for a long time. Then he confesses. Not the part she expected. He tells her that the journalist's father was once his patient. He operated on the man and the surgery failed. The man died on his table. The journalist has been hunting him ever since, dragging up the drunk driving accident as a weapon to destroy what's left of him. Elliot looks at her with hollow, exhausted eyes and waits for her to throw him out. Instead, Hazel asks for a favor. She has to leave town for one night. She needs him to handle the journalist, and she needs him to watch Joy. Elliot, who has spent his whole adult life failing the people who trust him, agrees.
Thanks.
That evening, Phil drives Hazel out to meet the boss. Vaughn, older now, grayer, but still smiling like a wolf in a tailored coat. He stands when she enters and opens his arms like a proud uncle. He reminisces about the day he found her, 15 years old, strung out on the streets of Vegas, half a corpse already. He talks about how he cleaned her up, trained her, made her into the most lethal thing he ever owned. Then he gets to the point. He has a target, a man named Perry, wealthy, well-protected, a high-paying contract. Vaughn wants Hazel to take him out. He slides her an envelope thick with cash. Hazel slides it back. She tells him that woman is dead. She buried her in the desert with a man named Travis. Vaughn's smile doesn't move, but his eyes do. He starts talking, casually, about Joy, about what a wonderful young woman she's become, about how dangerous it is to be a young woman in the world today, about how he'd hate to hear that anything happened to her. He even hints gently that he already knows about Travis. Hazel takes the envelope. What did you think was going to happen? You don't quit Vaughn. You only ever take a vacation. That night, she scopes out Perry at his casino. She watches him drink, gamble, charm a waitress. Then she goes home and pours herself something strong. Elliot joins her. The booze does what booze does. Hazel starts talking. She tells him about the streets, about being a child nobody wanted, about being rescued by a man who turned her into a weapon, about how every man she ever killed deserved it, and how that didn't make her hands any cleaner. Elliot listens. He doesn't judge. By the end of the night, they're tangled together in the dark, two ghosts finally finding warmth in another ghost. But here's what Hazel doesn't know. Elliot isn't a coincidence. Elliot didn't wander into her diner because the universe is kind. Elliot is Vaughn's man, has been since before he ever asked for a meal. He was sent to watch her, sleep with her if necessary, and report back. Every word she whispered into the dark went straight into Vaughn's ear the next morning.
Okay, well then, another night then.
Mom, what? Customers are coming in.
I'll see you in a second.
Yeah.
The next evening, Hazel puts on the dress again. She walks into Perry's casino looking like a bullet wrapped in silk. She bumps into him at the bar, plays surprised, plays charmed. Within an hour, she's in his private suite. They drink, they reminisce. Because here's the gut punch the script has been hiding. Hazel and Perry weren't strangers. 20 years ago, before she ran, they were lovers. While Perry isn't looking, Hazel slips poison into his glass. She's seconds away from finishing the job. But Perry, mellow and sentimental, suddenly tells her he never stopped loving her. He says he wants to start over. He raises the glass to drink. Hazel snatches it away and kisses him before he can. A knock on the door buys her enough time to dump the drink in the sink. They part with a promise to meet again. She walks out of that suite, shaken in a way she hasn't been in 20 years. Back at the diner, life keeps grinding forward. Elliot washes dishes. A local cop mentions in passing that teenage girls have been disappearing in the area, more than usual. The number is climbing fast. Hazel asks her cook if he's heard anything. He hasn't. The cop reminds her to call if she hears a whisper. Phil shows up next. Perry is leaving town soon, he tells her. If Hazel is going to do this, it has to be tonight. He sees her hesitating and slides the knife in. He reminds her with that same friendly Phil smile that Joy is so very young and the world is so very cruel. Hazel walks away from him before she does something she'll regret.
Hey,
What?
hey, do you want to talk about it?
No, I don't. Just need to think.
Elliot is waiting for her with open arms. She lets him hold her. She tells him she has to leave again and asks him to keep Joy safe. He tells her of course. The second she walks out the door, he picks up his phone and texts Vaughn. She's moving tonight. Hazel slips into Joy's room before she leaves. Her daughter is asleep. Hazel watches her for a long moment, the way mothers do when they're not sure they're coming home. Then she leaves.
Yeah. Wow.
I can't. I have to leave now.
Why are you going now? She's on her way.
She loads the gun. She rides the elevator up to Perry's suite. But across town, Perry is opening a package somebody just had delivered to him. Inside is a single photograph. Joy, Hazel's daughter. He stares at it and the math hits him like a bullet. 20 years ago, Hazel disappearing without explanation. The age of this girl, the shape of her face. Joy is his daughter. Before he can fully process it, his wife walks into the suite. He fumbles, he covers. He says he was setting up a surprise romantic evening for her. The lie holds. Barely. And in that elevator, Hazel makes a choice. She doesn't go to Perry's floor. She goes to Vaughn. She breaks into his hideout the way she used to break into hotel rooms. Silent, surgical, lethal. She drops the first guard without making a sound. Vaughn, watching from his security feed, sends Phil to intercept her. Hazel ambushes Phil in the hallway and puts him down with one strike. Then she walks straight to Vaughn's office. Vaughn is waiting with a gun in his hand. Hazel is faster. She shoots him in the arm and the pistol clatters to the floor. He clutches his wound and laughs through the pain. He tries his last card. He tells her Elliot has been his man the whole time. Every kiss, every confession, every quiet night, all of it reported back. He expects this to break her. It doesn't. Hazel tells him very calmly that she already knew. She just hadn't decided yet whether it mattered. Then she raises the gun, and before she pulls the trigger, she does the one thing he never saw coming. She calls him father. Because Vaughn didn't just train her, he fathered her. The man who plucked her from the streets at 15 and turned her into a killer is the same man who made her in the first place. Hazel pulls the trigger, and 20 years of pretending finally collapse onto a single corpse.
I saved your life.
The only good thing that came out of what you made me is that I can do this and still live with myself. Dad.
She drives home with her hands still shaking. She showers off the blood. She walks past Joy's door and listens to her daughter breathe. She doesn't say a word. The next morning, she walks past Elliot at the dish station without looking at him. He says good morning. She doesn't answer. He stands there with a wet rag in his hand, slowly understanding that she knows.
How long have you been working for me?
No, 17 years.
Yeah. I want to buy you a new set of tires.
No.
Here's loyalty.
You don't have to, pero gracias.
After all, if we don't have loyalty, what do we have?
Joy comes downstairs and gives her mother a quick, casual hug. She asks to borrow the car. Hazel hands her the keys. Joy steps outside. Hazel turns to start her shift, and that's when she hears it. A scrape, a wet sound. She turns around. Travis is standing in the back of the diner, bloody, filthy, half dead, somehow impossibly alive. He raises a finger to his cracked lips. Don't say a word. Hazel, after everything she's done and everything she thought she'd buried, slowly nods.
Can you do an egg white omelet, Hazel?
I could, Rudy, but I choose not to.
Oh, I do not know what I want.
Me neither. Me neither.
Okay.
Sounds good.
She turns back to the dining room, trying to steady her breathing. That's when she notices her cook is gone. The grill is unattended. She walks to the back to look for him. Through the window, she sees him on the ground in the parking lot, a stranger on top of him. Hazel runs. She drops the attacker before he knows she's there. Across the lot, another man is dragging a teenage girl toward a van. He sees Hazel coming and lets the girl go to charge her instead. Hazel drops him too. That's when she remembers what the cop said. Teenage girls, disappearing. It was happening here. It was happening through her town, maybe through her diner. A third man steps out of the van with a pistol in his hand. He fires. Once, twice, 3 times. Hazel hits the asphalt and doesn't get back up. The kidnappers grab the remaining girls and tear out of the parking lot in a cloud of dust. Elliot comes sprinting from inside, screaming her name. He drops to his knees in the spreading red and presses his hands to her chest, trying to keep the only honest thing in his life from leaking out onto the pavement. Hazel's eyes flutter. The sky above her is impossibly blue. Somewhere, miles away, her daughter is driving down a desert highway with the radio on, completely unaware. A mother who killed her own father to keep her daughter safe. A daughter who still doesn't know the truth. A man whose entire identity was a lie, now begging that woman not to die. And out there in the heat shimmer, a van full of stolen girls disappearing toward a horizon Hazel may never live to chase. 20 years ago, Hazel King wiped a man's blood off her own mouth and walked out of a hotel room without leaving a trace. Today, in a Barstow parking lot, she's the one bleeding out, and this time, the trace she leaves behind has her daughter's name on it.
Stay with me. Right here.